Welcome back. Today on the show, we're going to talk about getting ready for 2025. And the topic that I want to dig into today is the importance of disrupting yourself versus waiting to be disrupted by market conditions. Many of us saw the growing trend in 2024 of business closures and business panic pivoting and lots of frantic craze that happened over the course of the year as business owners were disrupted and didn't have a strategy to reinvent themselves. And on last week's solo episode, we talked about the importance of reinvention, why it's important, what it looks like, and why it's something you need to be thinking about and paying attention to for your business. And today I want to go a little deeper with that. And I want to really talk about kind of the understanding of a bit of the art and science of reinvention and how you need to be thinking about your 2025 strategy. This is what I would say from a kind of big picture purview when we look at the online landscape. There really are no blue oceans in the online landscape at this point that you would actually want to be in. Okay. The spaces where there is no competition, there's also no money, or it's so complex and so difficult that the likelihood of you having success is almost null. Okay. So we need to get over this idea of thinking that we have to get out of a super competitive niche or that we need to look for a space that is less popular or less competitive, because the less popular or competitive something is, the less money there is to make. And quite frankly, you want to be in the competitive spaces. You want to play in the space where there is both a lot of competition and also a lot of opportunity. So a perspective that you have to have going into 2025 is that it is going to be highly competitive, and you are going to need to up-level your leadership and your faith and your conviction around what it is that you do and the why behind it, and really truly continue to reinvent the gap that you fulfill in the market. And this is a really powerful and important perspective that I want to share with you on the show today. And when you think about reinvention, I want you to really think about reinvention through the lens of how can you take something that is timeless, that is an absolute, that will always and forever work in your industry or in your space or in your niche or in your modality, and reinvent it, make it timely and fresh again, bring it back to the forefront, and continually reinvent your message around that. And a great example, if you think of things that are happening in the online space right now, is that there's this very kind of very frantic kind of bubble bursting kind of trend where something becomes really popular. It grows and grows and grows. It kind of explodes at the top. It dissipates, and then it just no longer works anymore. And so there's two kind of tracks that you can be on when you think about reinventing your business. I recommend the latter, and I'll tell you why. But track one is people do this very frequently, where in order to reinvent themselves when they see that something isn't working, they continually hop on whatever the new strategy is, whatever the new trend or fad is, whatever the thing that kind of everyone in their space seems to be talking about and focusing on. And so there's this hyper focus through this pinhole of everyone trying to grapple to talk about this one thing and to do this one thing and to sell and to win with it. But what happens is, although you can compete if you play aggressively and you can win, what happens is it kind of hits that peak boiling point really quickly and it dissipates. And then you have to start that cycle all over again. And you're creating kind of these disjointed modalities within your own business where, again, the people that you targeted and brought in for one conversation may not be applicable for another. And so you create this cycle of feast or famine in your business because there isn't continuity over time and over seasons of what you're talking about, the avatar that you're speaking to, what topics they're interested in, and so forth. Now, the latter, and what I recommend when you think about disrupting yourself, when you think about reinvention, is to look at those very timeless, super tried and true, really valuable elements that are forever foundations of success in your modality, your segment, your topic, your industry, your space. And how do you make them relevant, fresh, and timely again? Here's what I love so much about this. When you find those fundamentals and you keep reinventing yourself over and over again around those fundamentals that are timeless, number one, your body of work is very cohesive because they are all congruent. Number two, you're cycling, talking through your same relevant, meaningful, and forever anchors of your brand, but you have seasons where you're speaking about different elements of it. But again, they all tie back to the same body of work. So you are, in essence, just updating your body of work while keeping cohesion and continuity and congruence in what you're doing. The new year is fast approaching, and there isn't a business owner out there that doesn't realize that with the speed of change and disruption in the market, your business needs to be relevant. Its products, programs, and services need to come across as timely, and they have to meet an urgent need with a competitive edge in the way that you position your brand. Now is the time to reinvent yourself and your business. Step into your true calling as a leader, living your faith, building your empire, and creating millions of dollars of revenue and impact in the world. If you want to learn more about how you can step into your new era, reinvent your business, and catapult your growth, make sure you register for the Reinvention Roadmap and give you a step-by-step plan to crystallize your new era, elevate your voice and your brand, and create the next level of success in 2025. Scroll down below this episode, click the link, and get yourself registered now. Number three is that you don't have that same very rapid peak and then fizzle out period where you have to constantly go find a totally new topic or a totally new subject matter or a new niche to focus on. And it's a lot less risky. It is a lot less risky. I've seen this so much over the last couple of years with everything from, AI at the beginning of 2024. All of my peers and competitors were all teaching about AI. They were all, and these are people from everyone who teaches launches to email marketing, to memberships, to courses, to coaching. Everyone was all about AI all year long until we got to the end of this year. And what happened was a lot of those promises and a lot of those tools and a lot of those shortcuts that they were teaching, people aren't actually getting results from them. And it's not really working. And so if you notice, a lot of those same people that in Q1 and Q2 of this year, they were talking endlessly. I mean, they were developing their own custom white labeled AI tools. Everything was AI everywhere. And now they've had to pivot into completely different conversations with completely different focal points because yes, they could sell things. People weren't getting results. It wasn't landing. And now they're on to something completely different and new. And people like me don't forget that. When I'm looking at someone that I'm going to invest in and I see that they're one of those people that jumps on those trends, even when they haven't properly vetted it, even when they haven't had enough time with it to truly actually get it to the point where someone can get sustainable results from it, I'm not going to invest with that person in the future because now I know that the quality of what this person is saying is very low. They have a very low bar for how they're vetting what they're marketing and vetting what they're creating and teaching. And they were never actually invested in it. They were just jumping on it because it was an opportunistic moment to capitalize on a trend. Don't be that person. Just don't be that person. Okay. So, I really want to emphasize the idea of reinvention and why this is literally so critical to your brand long-term, right? The number one thing that is going to get people to want to buy from you is trusting you. Like the number one thing that is going to get people to want to buy from you is trusting you. And so every decision that you make in your business either builds trust or breaks trust. And when you reinvent yourself and you continually are making relevant, timely, and new principles that are anchored in the timeless essentials for success in your modality, you establish yourself at a much higher level. There's more integrity in your brand. There's more authority in your brand. There's more power in your words. There's more trust in what you say and do. Okay. Now, if you don't learn how to reinvent yourself, but you keep talking about the same old things that everybody's heard 100 different ways and that they've already known you to speak about and talk about for forever, then you're going to lose attention. And this is why reinvention is an art and it is a science, because you have to have the ability to know how to capture attention. Attention is the commodity of our time. We know this. And so you have to have the ability to continually reinvent yourself and to understand the art, which is like the aesthetic, the vibe, the energy, the colors, the words, the language, right? The presentation of the concept to grab people's attention. And then the science is the delivery, the execution, how this actually is mapped out strategically and how you are stepping into owning it, right? In a way that carries people from the front end of marketing all the way through becoming a paid customer and then experiencing the transformation in your product. That is reinvention. There's the art and the science. Both are absolutely essential. But you have to continually disrupt yourself, because when we don't disrupt ourselves and we wait until things stop working, we no longer feel connected to our work. We don't love and enjoy the programs that we're delivering anymore. Our cost infrastructure is completely out of whack because our team costs are too high or our company costs are too high. Maybe the product or the pricing model that you're doing or the way that you're structuring things in your brand, it's just no longer working. If you wait until it's like a dire situation, that's where heavy burnout sets in. That's where we see a lot of panic pivoting, right? You have to leverage your intuition. And this is what faith in leadership is all about. Self-trust, self-leadership, self-governance, the ability to feel intuitively and to know intuitively when it's time, when you're being called to something slightly different, when you need to lean into something slightly different in your work, when it's time to evolve, right? And this should be a constant process. Now, I talked about this on the last solo episode that I did when I was talking about, I used to say, a good reinvention might happen every 2 to 5 years. And now it's like that reinvention has to keep happening every 2 to 5 months practically, right? Because the speed of changes is accelerated so much that you can't wait so long. But developing the ability to intuitively know when you need to evolve and when you need to reinvent is really crucial to your success. And the way that you do this has everything to do with whether or not your business is going to grow. And what I see people doing online each day is they do this panic pivot where they say, it's not working. I'm going to strategy hop. I'm going to mentor hop. I'm going to course hop. I'm going to program hop. I'm going to change the thing. And that's not what needs to change. A lot of times it's in here. It's in our hearts. It's in our minds. It's in the energy that we're showing up with. And yes, it's in the strategy, but it's not necessarily that you need a complete strategy change. It's that the nuance within that, it needs to be reinvented. The way that you're using the strategy needs to be reinvented. Okay. So there's the art of reinvention. There's the science. Look, feel, energy, emotion, aesthetic, words, colors, vibes, art, science, execution, strategy, how you make the nuanced changes that are going to bring your business back into alignment again. I love reinvention because when I think about Kairos, and this is Kairos season, for anyone that doesn't know, we are getting ready for the Reinvention workshop. It is happening the first week of January. You do not want to miss this. I haven't done this since last year. We have not opened this program. We have not done this workshop since last year. It's been almost a year since we opened registration to this. This is going to be super powerful stuff that you're not going to get anywhere else. I promise this is going to be a do not miss that is going to set the tone and strategy for your year, literally. And you can scroll down below this episode and you can register for the workshop. It's happening the first week of January. We're kicking off right after the new year and we're giving you a relaunch roadmap, a reinvention strategy. You're going to leave with a plan. You're going to leave ready to step into your new era. You're going to leave the next version of you. But I love this because Kairos, and that's what this is, this body of work for me is all about, is Kairos leadership, which is really about answering God's call on your life and saying yes to where God is calling you to go next in your business and treating your business as your pulpit and treating your business as your ministry in the world. It's how you make a difference. It's how you show up and lead. It's how you are acting in and of service to the world. And so when you think about reinvention, God's always doing something new in your life. God's always doing something new in your heart. And his vision for your life is so much more magnificent and greater and bigger and more beautiful than anything you could ever imagine. And so Kairos is about saying yes to whatever the calling in this next era of your life is. And it's about becoming self-led, meaning you don't need to jump on trends. You don't need to jump on fads. You don't need to follow what your peers or the market are doing. You don't need to know the latest, greatest thing. You need to become a preemptive leader where you're grounded in conviction. You are grounded in faith. You are grounded in your strategic focus, but you have to reinvent yourself and constantly be elevating into your next era as that Kairos leader, as that preemptive leader, using reinvention to do this in a very measured, engineered, strategic fashion so that every era builds on the last. This is a building process. This is not a feast or famine panic pivoting process. And I truly believe the anchor that sits right in the middle of that is faith. And that is why the reinvention roadmap, the reinvention workshop, my Kairos body of work, it is about bringing together faith, leadership, and empire building. It is about reinventing yourself and growing in your conviction, your certainty, your passion. And it is about bringing your ministry to the marketplace, living your faith every single day, impacting and building millions while being of service to the world and doing endless amounts of good through whatever your profession is. So if any of these topics excite you or interest you, make sure you scroll down below the episode now and get registered for the upcoming Reinvention workshop. I don't know if I'll do this again this year. We only did it once last year. Chances are we'll do it once this year. I don't know. But it's been a really long time since we did something like this, and it's going to be really special. And I'm going to bring the best of the best to you so that you can kick off this new year, the absolute best version of yourself, the best strategy for your business, and bringing those two things together to be the preemptive leader that you're capable of being. So I want you to understand the power and the importance of the art and science of reinvention. And I want you to think about, again, this is the so what, now what of this episode is I want you to think about your reinvention in terms of what is the next era that God is calling you to step up into in your business. I want you to think about reinvention from the standpoint of saying no to trends, fads, pressure, and short-term thinking, and saying yes to re-presenting and reintroducing timeless things that are age-old principles in your modality, or things that are relevant and timely for the now, but are central to your body of work that allow you to show up to the market, meet them exactly where they are with the right message, with the right marketing, with the right price point, with the right offer, so that you can sell, you can impact, you can facilitate change in the world. What is that timeless thing that you're going to elevate and make new again in your business and in your brand as you prepare for this new year? I want to make sure, of course, that you register for the Reinvention workshop that is coming up the first week of January. Scroll down below this episode to do that now. And I want you to know what's on the other side of reinvention. So reinvention kills burnout, number one, because you feel in connection with your work. You feel in control of what you're creating. You feel a sense of purpose and alignment, right? So much of burnout comes from malaligned. What you're doing doesn't feel congruent with who you're being or who you want to be, right? And it's going to allow you to recapture the market's attention, recapture the focus, make relevant and meaningful again what you're doing, but to do it in a way that creates congruency, conviction, and clarity, elevating the trust in your brand instead of dissipating it. So I want you to go back after listening to this episode and think about, what is that thing that you're going to rally around to reinvent yourself around as you come into this new year? And how can you think about that in preparation for the Reinvention workshop that's happening the first week of January? I hope you got registered already. I want you to know that if you're in a highly competitive market, congratulations, because that means that there is money everywhere endless opportunity and possibility. And it's up to you to step into your next level of faith and your next level of leadership to say, what is that gap that I can fill in a unique and meaningful way? That is that one special thing that only I can do in this way that is going to make the difference for my market, is going to capture their hearts, their minds, their attentions, and get them excited to want to partner with and invest in myself and my business this year. Thank you, as always, for tuning into the Kelly Roach Show, and we'll be back here in just a few.